TDI with gasoline in the gas tank. So all I do is I bridge the in-tank pump so that the fuel gets pumped out. This pump is noisy. I don't know if you can hear it. I had to bang on the gas tank to get the car going, or to get the pump going. It's common on these that the pump stops and there's no drivability issues as long as the system doesn't lose prime. Yeah, it's always a good idea to check these in-tank pumps to see if they're buzzing or not. All you have to do is put a screwdriver on the housing, put your ear on the screwdriver, have somebody crank the engine or even run the engine. Like I said, they can run with these pumps not working. If you don't hear or feel any buzzing, I can feel the buzzing right now. So if you don't hear anything or feel anything, the pump is no good. Obviously you can check as well with the electrical connector. Should be power on the blue-purple wire, and the brown wire at the end is the ground. So once the gasoline is pumped out, we'll put diesel in. Then I'm going to disconnect the return line, and I'm going to pump fresh fuel, and the remaining diesel will get blown out, or will come out the blue return line into a container. In the meantime, while this one is draining, I'm going to change the fuel filter. There's a Phillips screw. Just loosen that Phillips. I use my electric drill. Then you can slide the filter. Always fill the filter with diesel purge. It's just good liquid to add for cleaning the system. Not because there was gasoline in the system, but just in general. Diesel purge is a good fuel treatment / cleaner. I would use it regardless, or suggest to use it regardless at least once a year. And there's always that last little bit that won't come out. I make a little hole here and then I pour it out like this. Always keep an eye on the jerry can. If it gets too full, then it'll overflow. And I think we're almost done. It looks like a lot of air bubbles. Then you put the O-rings back on, new ones that came with the filter. You want to lubricate the O-rings. Okay, the return hose is still attached to the fuel tank, so what I do is I blow into this hose and force, if there's gasoline in here, I force it into the gas tank so that it can be sucked up with by the fuel pump. You'll feel when the hose is clear, because it's going to be easier to blow through it. And then that can go back on. Could be slowing down because the pump is starting to struggle. Pump is still running. So I'll get back to you guys once it's stopped, once it's empty. We're changing the pump anyways. Well, not anyways, it's a bad pump. It's noisy, and it only started after banging on the bottom of the tank, so it needs a pump regardless. So I'll show you guys that as well, and then we'll bleed the system. Just see, so you can see that it's a bad pump. I'm going to do a current ramp. Full screen. Pick one of these wires. And as you can see, it's pretty bad. It's dropping out. There's a big hump here. It should be a nice sawtooth pattern up at the top, but it's dropping out everywhere. So I'm just going to save this file so you guys can see that as well. This is a 2004 and fuel pump. Bad. So the file will be in the description. You can download it and play with it on your computer. Actually, I should do another one at 20 milliseconds. 20 milliseconds. Let it buffer a little bit. Good enough. Save it. And I'll get you a good one afterwards. It's pretty much stopping right now, so I'm gonna take the sender out and we'll see how much fuel is left. I might have to use the new pump to drain it. To release the fittings, push in the tab, pull up on the connector. I should have to get my release tool first. So you're gonna need some rags to catch any spillage. I always mark the collar nut so I know how far I'm turning it. There's an arrow here and there's an arrow on the tank. You'll see better on your car. I know my light is bright sometimes. It's a bit tight, but it'll work. Should be a turn and a half. That's half a turn. There's one turn, 1.5. There's quite a bit of fuel still left, so the pump is obviously packed it in at this point. You have to be careful of the fuel sending unit here. The new pump may not come with it, so you don't want to bend it. Feel free to save the fuel. Well, actually, not if it's a gasoline mix. You don't want to put that back in. Look at how dirty this thing gets with age. These sealing rings seals can be reused, but you can see how discolored this one is. So it's best to get a new one. Actually, I think the TDI pumps come with the sender. So we'll leave this here for now. Actually, I'll just leave that here for now. Actually, we're almost down at the bottom, so that wasn't too bad. I'm just gonna wait for the new pump, and then I'll use the new pump to drain the rest. Okay, so then you align the arrow here and there. I like to lube the collar nut. It's 1.5 turns. I just line up the marks. You got to push down the pump, and I line up my mark here. And I should be able to just turn it 1.5 turns. I'm just going to move my fuel hoses. Yeah, that's 1/2 turn. And then I'll use a tool. That's 1 turn, and because of the grease, because of the lube, I can go a little bit further. That's good enough. It doesn't have to be overly tight. Remove the sealing caps. And then install the fuel lines. Make sure they click into place. Blue is the return, black is the feed. Seems a little tight here. And I'll back it off a bit and then rotate the pump a little bit. That's better. Arrow's slightly off, no big deal. At least the fuel line isn't stressed. Okay, and put the connector on. The return I already blew up at the front. I blew into the return, and it blew, so the blue is clear of fluid. The feed might still have a bit of fuel in it still. I can't remember if I blew back into it. No, I didn't. So what we're going to do now is run the pump, and then bleed it or flush it at the front. I'm going to bleed the high injection pump, high pressure pump. Yeah. Okay. So give it a rest. It was just about to start, but give it a second. Okay. And then you just let it run until it comes out clean and runs smooth. Okay. Before all my diesel purge goes to waste. That's it. And you can just soak up any spilled diesel or rinse it off, wash it off with water. And what you want to do is fill the fuel tank now completely with diesel, because there will be a little bit of gasoline still left in the system, possibly. And the more diesel you have in there, the better. The odds are better that nothing else is going to happen. Okay. So the new pump is in, engine is running, and I'll get you that waveform of the new pump. component test, fuel pump, current ramp, full screen. We'll go 10 millisecond first. Yes, I know there's an invert button. And so you can now see, we'll put the trigger up higher. Nice even sawtooth waveform. And then I'm just going to save it so you guys can play with it. And the presets are all still there. 2004 fuel pump, this time it's good. And then save. And then, oops, we're going to do it at 20 milliseconds as well. 20 milliseconds. All it is more peaks are being shown now. Sometimes it's better to look at it at 20 milliseconds, because if you have 8 humps, sometimes you don't see them all in the same screen. That's why I do the 20 sometimes, or most of the times. And then this one is good also, same thing, save. Okay, that's it. That was BEW TDI, same as a BRM or similar. If you happen to put gasoline or petrol into the fuel tank, it's nothing to worry about. Just flush it out and you're good to go. Thanks for watching. If it's a newer TDI common rail, you've got injector problems, high pressure pump problems, they're all worn out because of the lack of lubrication. So check engine light was on with a camshaft position sensor fault code. There is a component test we can do if I select the correct vehicle. Let's just do that anyways, why not? Fuel injection, it's an 04 Golf, it's a 1.9 turbo. I'm not sure if it's going to have the ALH option or the BEW, but anyways, so it just has a crank sensor. There's no cam sensor because the ALH doesn't have a cam sensor. So this is obviously an ALH menu, not a BEW. But since I know it's a square wave that we're looking at, I'm just going to select it manually. Camshaft position sensor is this black one. The gray one is the crankshaft position sensor. It's a hall sensor. One of them is ground, one of them is a voltage feed, the other one is a signal. So it doesn't matter where you start, I'll just stick it into one of them here. So this must be my ground. Actually, hold on, I'm on the wrong scale here. Let's go to a 20 volt scale. So the yellow is my voltage feed, voltage supply. Let's go with dual graph. So I have good voltage supply, 14 volts. The outer one on the other side, that's my ground. So I have good ground. And my center one should be the signal, but you can see it's stuck high at 12 volts. The computer sends a 12 volt signal, and then the sensor pulls it to ground. Since it's not pulling it to ground, there's no square wave action, so it needs a camshaft position sensor. I keep getting interrupted, or people watching what I do. I'm going to put in the link in the description a link to a known good BEW BRM waveform. The BEW and the BRM is actually slightly different, but you'll see the camshaft sensor signal what it's supposed to look like compared to this stuck flat waveform here. The sensor is behind the timing belt here. It can be changed without moving the timing belt. I have a video about that as well, which should also be linked in the description. Thanks for watching.